The southern region is the busiest part of British Rail's national network, and each day 5,500 trains pass over its 3,187 miles of track. In 1968, the trains running on the southern region were controlled by 544 signal boxes. Since the end of the Second World War, the southern region, which pioneered multiple aspect colour light signalling, has been extending this system. 1968 saw the start of a very ambitious plan, the control of the region from only 13 signal boxes. The first of these is Dartford, which was commissioned in November 1970. Before the scheme started, the Dartford lines were controlled from 41 signal boxes, and all will ultimately be abolished. These include small gate boxes where the operations could scarcely be considered efficient despite the personal service, and other local landmarks much beloved by many drivers, such as Dartford Junction, Crayford Creek, Crayford Spur A and B, and Perry Street Fork. Many of the old signal boxes were in poor condition, with most of the equipment life expired. Some dated from the 1880s. Nearly all the signals were mechanically operated semaphores, but within the area were two examples of pre-multiple aspect colour light signals dating back to the 1920s. These were direct colour light replicas of the aspects displayed by mechanical signals at night. Come for a short journey on an early morning rush hour train on the Dartford Loop line with the original signalling. The signal boxes are worked by the block system. This involves the sending and receiving of many messages in bell code, which is a very time-consuming process. Owing to the proximity of the River Thames, the area is prone to fog, when punctual running is impossible with semaphore signalling, as many passengers will testify. There is a shortage of signalmen, preventing signal boxes necessary for peak hour working being manned, causing delays when all other conditions are favourable. Detailed planning for the North Kent Line's re-signalling scheme was carried out during the latter part of 1967 and early 1968. The scheme was financially authorised in August 1968, and measuring and marking out on site commenced.
Signal D35, straight post, red light 12 feet above rail level.
Yes.
How about the base? 6 feet from rail, 6 inches below rail level?
Yes, that's all right.
We'll have the telephone on the post.
The first sign of physical progress is the installation of the cable route. The majority of this is concrete troughing, which is offloaded from special trains. The train is moved forward a set number of wagon lengths at a time. The control of the train movement is done by a supervisor on the track, whom the driver must obey implicitly. The purpose of this close control is to ensure that the correct rate of unloading is maintained. It is equally inconvenient to find too many or too few troughs available when laying commences. The offloading must be closely supervised to prevent the troughs being thrown out on top of one another and damaged. This is 10-inch troughing, but the most common size is 12.5 inches. 15 and 19-inch routes are used in more congested areas. Most of this type of work is done at night, increasing the difficulties. "50 trains were run with an average of 20 wagons containing 100 yards of trough each. The troughing is usually laid 6 feet from the inside edge of the nearest running line to allow mechanical track maintenance to be done. It is bedded into the ground a few inches to provide stability. A 19-inch troughing such as this weighs 220 pounds each trough. This part of the route is now taking 40 cables. The station platform is an obstacle to the cable route. There are 35 on the scheme where troughing is unsuitable and the route goes through the platform. Special tubes known as HEP ducts are laid in concrete in the platform and the surface reinstated. To assist feeding the cables through the tubes, manholes of 30 by 24 inches are provided at 60-yard intervals.